Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is in response to a lot of questions I get about how do I speed up my process. As braiders, we spend a lot of time with folks in the chair because it is a time-consuming process, but in order for us to make money, we have to be efficient with that time. If you're charging $200 for knotless braids, but it takes you 8 hours, that puts you at $25 an hour, which actually isn't bad. However, if you factor in things like booth rent or suite rent, supplies or the cost of hair, money it takes you to commute to and from your space, or any other costs that go into providing that service, that $25 might actually end up looking more like $15 an hour. And we're still not counting the taxes you have to pay. So how do we increase that amount? We increase our speed and our efficiency, and we turn over more clients with the same quality service. So today's video, I'm gonna slow things down a bit for you guys. If you remember this video right here, I walked you guys step by step how to complete medium box parting. But what I may not have mentioned is that I completed all of that waist length in under 4 hours. Luckily, I took pictures of each step, complete with timestamps, so you could see exactly where I was in the process at each moment. And I'll explain what I was doing at each step to help increase my efficiency and speed. But before we get started today, as you guys know, we are celebrating 300K. And to show my appreciation, I was selecting one winner from YouTube and one from Instagram to be gifted with a $100 Amazon gift card just in time for the holidays. We've already selected our Instagram winner, so let's get into our YouTube winner. So here we are at Comment Sharp, where you drop in the URL for the video and it will randomly select a comment winner for you. And here we have our winner. Congrats to you. I have pinned your comment to the top of the comment section, so make sure you go read the response to it. There are very important instructions in there so that you can claim your prize. Thank you so much to everyone who participated in the giveaway and every single subscriber who has chosen to subscribe to the channel. I really enjoyed reading all of your comments. These are very important to continue the positive growth that we have in the braiding community. Not only are you inspiring me, you're inspiring others. Before I start crying again, let's get into this video. Now, before we get started, here are a couple of things to keep in mind. I am a braid as you go or part as you go braider. So I work row by row, braid by braid. Also, I am working alone and I am braiding each braid all the way to the end. These are waist length, which usually is around 25 to 30 inches. One way I was able to increase my speed by timing myself was I would time how long it took me to braid a 20-inch braid from beginning to end. I typically will do a speed test with new braiders who are coming into the shop. You should be able to complete a 20-inch braid in under 3 minutes. If you're practicing this consistently, it will become muscle memory. So theoretically, 5 20-inch braids should only take you 15 minutes to complete. Also, side note, I always prep before my client arrives. Braiding hair comes in 3 bundles to a pack. I will prep 5 bundles. That is the average for most heads. But if you're not sure, always prep 2 packs. So as you can see here at the timestamp at the top, it is 9:17. I'm pretty sure we started at 9 o'clock and I've already completed 4 braids. This is typical timing for waist length. Now this slide is for you overthinkers out there. That second row, instead of parting off the entire second row, I start with my middle box. Once I've located my middle box, all that's left to do is to part each side to the top of the ear. And here we are at 9:46. This is 45 minutes into the service and I've completed 9 braids. Remember, these are waist length, so that's about 5 minutes per braid. Now I'm on to the first row above the ear and it is 10:09 a.m. That means I've completed 5 braids in about 20 minutes. Another thing to note, the higher I move up the head, the longer the braids are going to be to match the length. Now here we are at 10:13. That is only 4 minutes it took me to part off that second row. Now here we are at 10:29. I have completed 5 braids. It sped up a little bit because I'm not overthinking how I need to part that line. I've already set my foundation at the bottom. Once the foundation is set below, all there's left to do is to bricklay as you move up. A lot of you are spending too much time overthinking your process, and that's what's killing your efficiency. And here we are at 10:49, another 20 minutes. I've already parted off and completed the half of that 3rd row. Remember, the more I move up the head, the longer the braids are going to be, so the top of the head is going to take me a little bit longer than the back of the head. And here we are a little under 2 hours into the service, and I've already completed about a 1/3 of the head. But you see what I have going on here? I already have a brick laid foundation. So now all that's left to do is to match the other side. This is another way to stop overthinking your process. Trust the foundation that you've already built and keep it moving. Now here we are at 11:05, another 20 minutes to complete 5 braids that just simply match the other side. Another thing I want to point out with this close-up is I don't use a lot of product on the client's scalp. I find it actually highly unnecessary, and clients will always complain about it. So some of you are wasting a lot of time trying to get perfect parts, when sometimes that is just simply impossible, especially when you have clients with moving scalps, with lumps or bumps or humps that you have to get over, bald spots or patches. Some of you are trying to create perfection out of imperfection, and it's wasting a lot of time. This right here is case in point. I do remember when we got to this side of her head, she had like a very, very tiny, small patch that was kind of intersecting with one of the lines in the boxes. So I don't know if you can see right there on that 3rd braid, I had to curve it a little bit so that you couldn't see the bald spot. This 2nd row actually had 6 boxes, and so it took me a little over 20 minutes to complete. So now we've made it to the 3rd row. Again, all I'm doing is matching it to the other side. You'll also notice here that there is a line going straight down the middle. This is where her middle part is. This line is important to me because I want to make sure that my next brick above this line is going to be dead smack in the middle of her head. It's 11:34 here, and now 11:48. Again, about 20 minutes or so for me to complete 5 braids. Now we're in the home stretch. So remember that middle box I was talking about? I've already parted off my last 2 rows by starting with that middle box. This row was in fact 11 braids. 1 box in the middle and 5 on each side. I started this row at 11:48, ended at 12:24, putting me at 36 minutes. That's a little over 3 minutes per braid, but there is one caveat. You notice right here, I stopped braiding about halfway, and there's a reason for that. I stopped halfway so that I can finish the top of the head. I went ahead and completed the top of the head so that while I am finishing the ends, I've already moosed her down and allowing the mousse time to dry. This reduces the amount of time that I'm waiting for the client to get out of my chair because of dry time. And this is what we mean by multitasking, finding ways to do one or more things at the same time. Now, when I get to about the last 3 or 4 braids, I will go ahead and set up my water kettle. Why? Because it takes water about 6 to 8 minutes to boil. Of course, that depends on the size or the type of kettle that you have, so you may just want to time it. But during that 6 to 8 minutes, I'm not waiting for the water to boil. I am braiding down ends. So by the time I finish that last braid, my water is already hot and ready for dipping. And here we are at 1:15. The hair is completely dipped, ends are trimmed, and we are ready to check out. Now, I say this is pretty much exactly 4 hours. Why? Because I actually stopped to record every single step of this process. Not only did I stop to set up my camera, make sure it was in frame, make sure that it was focused, I got videos and pictures. I've got this process and parting map so ingrained in me, in my brain and in my hands, that I was able to execute this while recording and taking pictures within 4 hours. So now we're done at 117. We're checking out. That might take a few minutes. I have also streamlined my photo taking process, which I will go over in another video, to make the checking out and taking pictures part less stressful for your clients. But guess what? My next client's not coming until 2 o'clock. So not only do I have time to eat lunch, I have time to prep for something else. I have time to get some things done. And if my next client comes at 2 o'clock, I might be done by, 6. That puts me at a regular working day. Now, will every client be at that 4-hour mark? Absolutely not. Some people, it may not take as long, and sometimes it's only taking me 2.5 hours. And that's simply because they may just have an easy head of hair to braid. There may not be blunt ends. They may not be too thick. A myriad of reasons could, slow down or speed up your process. But what we want to ensure is consistency. So I know that my average time is 4 hours and I can complete 2 to 3 clients in a day, of course, if I wanted to. And you can only imagine if you hired help, you could turn over more clients. So one thing I've learned in all of my years of learning myself and teaching others is that a lot of times you're wasting time in your brain. You're overthinking your process and not trusting yourself. I say this all the time. Once you've mastered your process and you become confident in your skills, the speed will come with the confidence, because you're no longer wasting time overthinking it. If you're not able to do that 20-inch braid in 3 minutes, you're not practicing enough. Real talk, you should be able to do this in your sleep. So for those of you who are really wanting to take this seriously, I'm going to leave you with a homework assignment. The assignment is, over the next couple of weeks, write down 3 things that you have identified in your process that you can improve on. And what steps did you take to improve those 3 things? And that's it for today's video. As always, if you learned something, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and tell a friend. Subscribe to the channel for content just like this. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.